I didn't really want to make this video because I feel like I'm being negative, but I'll just say it anyways because it's kind of important for people to understand, or also for me to understand sometimes. Okay, so the real downside of all-inclusive resorts, no matter how expensive it is that really at the end of the day that quality can go downhill over time at an all-inclusive resort. I'm not talking about any specific resort because I've seen this in several resorts, but essentially all-inclusive, you pay money and then after the fact, which is during your vacation, you get to go and enjoy those things that you've already paid for, that you've prepaid for. Not the room, but really all the food, the restaurants, the drinks, the quality of the drinks, really. So that's what I'm going to get into, its quality. So again, not to paint every resort with the same brush, but there is really no incentive to always maintain strict quality control standards. And I'm really talking about food and drinks and operations because after you've already paid, so if standards start slipping over time, well, yeah, maybe over time the resort might lose some guests, but people will still book. There's a lot of great destinations. People always go there on vacation. I mean, unless it becomes terrible, people will still go there. So it's common for standards to slip over the years, maybe a few years after a hotel opens, because if you go to a bar at an all-inclusive resort, if you go to a restaurant and something is just really not good, they're not losing any money. They already have your money. No incentive for quality control. And a lot of these fruity flavored drinks that they have at the bars, they have these artificial sweeteners and the aftertaste is just horrendous sometimes. And that's just my opinion. I mean, if you order like freshly squeezed pineapple juice or something, you can't go wrong there. Orange juice, right? But if you go for one of those elaborate blended drinks, whether alcoholic or non-alcoholic, I've noticed even at top all-inclusive resorts, they can have a pretty bad aftertaste, which is a sign that they use some kind of artificial sweeteners. And I'm not holding that against them. I know that's just the way it is. It's not I'm not expecting them to bring out the best quality, like organic or natural ingredients, because there's a budget, and I understand that they have to provide for hundreds of people. So they have to take into account that people are going to be consuming what they have, and they can't spend too much on that. It's a business, right? But for things like drinks, they can be, loaded with way too many of a certain ingredient to make it taste inedible, and you'd have to kind of pour it out, literally just leave it. Or same with food, it can be salty beyond belief or something like that, just something outrageous. Like that, and it's fine because you've already paid for it. They're not losing money if the food is suddenly really bad at a restaurant, at an all-inclusive restaurant, or a bar if the drink is just horrendous, which I've experienced before. Or if you go to a bar and they're out of alcohol, like they're out of certain types of ingredients, or you go to a restaurant and the restaurant's closed for the night or something, or they cut their hours, or there's a huge line at the restaurant, a huge line at the buffet, and there's not enough seats at the restaurant or whatever. It's if you don't eat that night or something, or if there's like not good hygienic standards and you get food poisoning, it's happened to people. They're not losing any money because you already paid, right? If you don't consume their food, which maybe some of it's not very good, or their drinks, which some of them are not very good, they're not losing money because you've already paid for those drinks that might not have the best quality. You've already paid for them. Now, of course, the option for you is to choose not to give your business to that hotel in the future, which is how it works. But those guests will still keep coming. But my point is, there's no incentive to have. Sometimes there's no incentive for quality control because you paid for it already. And if employees are short-staffed, overworked, and frankly speaking, I hate to say it, but like maybe hypothetically, if someone's not getting paid enough to care, why should they care? And I agree with that. And then the guests will say, well, I paid top dollar for this resort, but the counter argument is, all that money's not going to the actual employees to do all the work, or at least the employees with those front-facing customer roles. So it's not really a complaint, it's just a fact, and to explain why things can get worse over time at all-inclusive resorts, because if there's no quality control or less quality control, it's not really affecting the revenue too much unless guests stop going to that resort altogether. That's how resorts get worse over time. You know, they cut corners, they cut costs while charging the same price or even increasing the price if they perceive that there's increased demand. So the quality of services, quality of food and drinks can decrease over time, and the price can be the same so that there will be more profit. And that's all. That's all I'm saying. That's really the downside of all-inclusives. It's possible for services, the quality of services, to decrease over time, and the price will not necessarily decrease because there's always an eye towards cutting costs and an eye towards profit without necessarily considering really what the guests think of every single thing that's just going on at the resort. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. The thing that I don't like about all-inclusive resorts